What is going on, everyone? Today is May 21st. Took another L on the week. That's two losses, one win. However, I'm still up barely, uh, down right around $1,000 across all the accounts. So, not too bad, not really big of a loss. There's two executions on the screen. I'll go over this second one right here soon. But this is my main execution for today. I really thought this would play out. So I'm just going to hop in a replay. As we can see, I was completely incorrect with this move, somewhat. But we'll get into that in a second. I'll just jump into market open and what I was seeing and what I was thinking. So coming into the day, obviously I talked about looking at the higher time frame, the weekly, daily, things like that. So I did check the daily and I saw we were rejecting out of this daily sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, which is, super high probability to send us lower. But on the other side of the trend, we had a 4-hour bullish gap that we were trading inside of during this time. Now, have we retested this gap before? Yes, but it still has not been inverse nor closed below, so it still has that bullish effect on price, and you could still see price rip up from it. So coming into the day, I'm not really sure whether I want to be bullish or bearish. I just kind of, held myself back and waited. We made equal lows with Asia low, but ES began to sweep this low and took out Asia low. So I thought maybe this would be our continuation for higher, especially because we are in this bullish gap. But if we jump onto the hourly, we created this 1 hour sell side imbalance that starts wherever up there. But yeah, so we have this 1 hour sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, this little SIBI, and we have this accumulation range right here. And so again, like I've been saying this week, I've seen so many PO3s play out, and I'm pretty much expecting price to manipulate all these highs and distribute lower into the range, possibly to this Asia low, at least that Asia low. But my full draw was going to be this overnight low from the last night's open. So coming into open, just chops around as ES sweeps the low. I'd like to note there was no news today either, no red folder at least, so I was expecting some chop, which is what we got. We end up finally ripping higher, and we manipulate all these lows, or all these highs, sorry. And we get this, this kind of pullback into this range. But like I said, no change in the state of delivery, literally zero confirmation that this wants to go lower, so I did not take a short here. And then, boom, we get another resweep as 10 a.m. opens. So 10 a.m. opening, I'm expecting a manipulation of all these highs to the left, and then, that's going to be our open high, which is going to manipulate the highs, and then low is going to be our distribution, and then obviously we close back in the range. That's what I'm expecting for the 4 hour because of 10 a.m. And what do we see? Boom, we get this 1 minute inversion. I really wish I slapped a short right here. It would have been so incredibly cheap to slap a short right here. Would have caught a 7, almost 7 RR. It's a 6.55. But I did not, just because I didn't really feel like this was enough confirmation yet, despite having everything I'd look for. The CRT inverse, I don't know. Something was just telling me not to take it. I should have took it. I should have followed my rules and took it, but I didn't. So obviously I missed out on this move. Look at that, it is actually a 7 RR. But anyway, and then what do we see? I told myself if we get this change in the state of delivery right here on this 5 minute, aka where 10 a.m. opens, if we get this change in the state of delivery, now you would say this might be an order block. I refute that because it sweeps out all these highs, so this is a change in the state of delivery. I said if we took this, I would limit the change in the state of delivery or the inverse, depending on if we're chopping or if we're very much dumping. If we were going to dump, I was going to just, limit the CISD. If we were chopping around, I was going to try and go for a better RR entry and get tagged in. But what do we see happen? We don't get that. We don't get that close below. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe 10 a.m. wants to open, and this is going to be our wick. And then we move higher. So I'm just waiting now. I'm just going to sit here and wait. Boom, what do we see? I see this fair value gap open, and we reject this rejection block out of this hourly PD array. And I'm thinking, okay, I could potentially short right here and put my stop right here, because again, this should be a protected high because we already tapped into a PD array. So I was thinking, okay, if we get this inversion right here, I'll short this down to at least New York AM low. This will be our PO3 play. But again, I really wanted to see that 5-minute CISD confirmation, because if I entered on the inversion and we didn't see that, I would immediately say like, damn, I should have just waited another minute. But what do we see happen? Boom, dump down. And we never ever get that tag back in. I know you guys see this wick, but this is not after the close. This wick happens before the change in state of delivery. As you can see, CISD never gets tagged into. I set my limit on the CISD because I saw we were dumping. So I had a limit right here, stop at this protected swing. Well, it's an internal swing. I'd also like to note that this range gets rebalanced, so this is even more further proof that this is a protected swing. But obviously, you know, need I say more, never get tagged. Nor do we sweep this overnight low either. We actually made an SMT with New York AM low. If I can pull that up, we made an SMT down here. So hopping back onto MNQ, this SMT at these lows, you know, with AM low, I'm thinking, okay, maybe that just invalidates our entire setup. Maybe we're no longer bearish anymore. However, we are so close to this overnight low, and it's not a protected swing point whatsoever. I'm expecting this to be swept. So I see this 5-minute, you know, let me delete these because we don't need them no more. I see this 5-minute gap open right here, and I'm thinking, okay, I could potentially see a short out of this gap. Now, what do I want to see? I want to see this rebalance, at least to EQ of the range, which is what we get. And so I got this 5-minute gap right here. Boom. Boom. Cool little 5-minute gap. We dig super deep into it. We're at the 50%. We respect the 50%. We start wicking and closing below EQ of the gap, and we tap EQ of the range. So I'm thinking this can be our move for our final push lower. If we get this inversion right here, I'm going to set a limit on the inverse, target AM low, at least the overnight low for a 2.4. That's what I was thinking going into the day, or going into this trade. That was my if then, or if this then that statement, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I was like, if we get this inverse out of this sell side imbalance, I'll take this to the lows again. I don't care about this SMT. Now, what happens? Boom, we get strong closure below. 5-minute candle sweeps previous candle's high, CRT. This is literally A+. The only downside is the fact that we have an SMT against us. But again, I don't really care about that because of the bearish displacement we're seeing, and we're respecting bearish PD rays. Now, that did happen on Monday, or Tuesday, sorry, when I took that first initial loss of the week, where we had an SMT at the lows and we had bearish displacement, and I still lost that short. So did I really learn anything from Monday? Probably fucking not, honestly. So what did I do? Set a limit, and boom, get tagged in. Here we go. Got tagged in right there, stop at the high. And TP was this overnight low, but what ends up happening? Boom, I get drilled out of this trade. And then we tag OTE, and then we start rejecting again. Did I take this short again? Absolutely not, because it started hitting me like, man, this happened on Monday, or Tuesday, sorry. So why am I taking this trade again if it already happened and I lost? Did I not learn from my previous loss? So now I'm thinking, okay, maybe this SMT does have some significance, but we're still respecting bearish PD arrays. We are still showing respect to bearish PD arrays. And we have now rebalanced to OTE, and ES has made an SMT at these internal swing points. So I'm still hunting for a short. Even though I already took my trade, I already took my loss, I'm still hunting for shorts. I'm down around 150 on all the accounts at this point. I'm still looking for a short. So what do we see happen? Now I'm getting confused. Now I'm like, all right, what the hell? I don't know what to look for. This gap gets inverse. This gap gets inverse. We're still trading inside this 5 minute. These closures look awful. There's nothing to really trade here. And so what ends up happening, we still chop around for a little bit. I see us start giving these strong closures to the downside. And what do? I see this strong closure down, this pullback. ES is ripping down, if I'm correct. Yeah, we have an SMT at this low. ES is ripping. I'm thinking, okay, this is our short. I'm about to get my bread back, bro. Like, I'm kind of tilting right now. This is going to be the one that wins me my money back. So I set a limit at 208.50, I believe. A little 3 micros. I was going to target not only this, but a little bit more. This is where I started to realize I was tilting. As you guys can see, the accounts are at 49.4. I wanted 600 bucks to get out of drawdown. So that was the reason for this imaginary TP down here. That's what should have clicked. And I was like, okay, damn, I'm just kind of tilting, bro. So boom, I get tagged in right there. And originally though, I did get tagged in on this candle, and I also exited on that same candle, but I guess I'm a minute late, so I'm just gonna let this run until I get tagged out. Okay, there we go. So, man, that looks really ugly. I'm just gonna go back. Go back more. Okay, there we go. So, 208.50, whatever. There was no reason for this whatsoever. I had my stop at this high, and I wanted to get out of drawdown. So, boom, right there. And then I was like, man, what am I doing? This is an imaginary TP. This is not a real place for price to, distribute towards. So I was up around like $70-ish. And then I was thinking, man, if this hits my stop loss, I'll be down like 500 bucks for the day. I do not want that. That's like a fourth of my drawdown on some choppy price action. That's not a good risk. And so what do? Dang. All right, it missed me again. That's really unfortunate. Can we try that one more time, bro? Jeez. Blah, blah, blah. Y'all heard the story already. Boom, boom. Had my limit, whatever. There we go. Let's hit TP like right there, whatever. It's not that big of a difference. And there we go. Finally, that makes sense. So, that's the reasoning for those executions right there. Honestly, I can just exit replay mode at this point. And those are my executions. Literally got in and out. Like, where is that? 198. So, dude, I caught like maybe 10 points. And thank God I did, dude. Now, obviously, I never would have gotten stopped out, and the trade did go into profit, and ES did end up resweeping New York AM low, making another SMT. So, was the short valid? Not really. I still don't think the short was valid. This chop just degraded the setup more and more over time. So I don't think this short was valid. This was definitely just a tilt trade, and I definitely tilted today. And right now, I have no fucking idea what we're doing. Like, I don't know why we're up here. This makes zero sense. Like, we're back into this daily gap. So I don't know what's going on today. Today's a terrible PA. So yeah, I took my loss on the chin, bro, and then immediately threw it off my chin and said, fuck it, I want my money back, and began to tilt and took this really dumb setup and made back like 60 bucks. So now I'm only down 100 bucks on each of the accounts. The problem I see here now, though, is there's literally no valid setup back into these highs. Like, if you were drawing London High to be your target, there's no entry point whatsoever here at all. Like, this is really ugly, man. I don't know what this is. Yeah, we have an SMT down here, but like, bro, where do you even enter on here, my guy? Like, there's nothing here. And then boom, we get this 70 pointer to the upside, followed by like another couple 50, 40 pointer candles, and there's London High. So makes no sense whatsoever, but you know, I'm pretty sure there's an inversion right here. Yeah, so London High, let's see, is ES misses London High, dude, I could totally just say fuck it and throw a short right here, right now, while I'm making this video, and absolutely nuke all my accounts right now. I could do that right now. Am I going to do it? No, dude. Today is just bad PA. I'm gonna preserve my capital for tomorrow. I still got like 1,400 bucks to draw down. I'm barely up like 25 bucks on the week on each of the accounts, but it is what it is. I'd much rather have that than have had this hit stop loss and been down 500, or have tilted more and lost the accounts, because during this chop, it's so easy to tilt, man. Every direction you enter, price starts going the other way. Super easy to just start reversing positions. So I'm not happy with how I performed. I feel like this trade, next time I see an SMT at the lows, like Tuesday and like today, I'm just going to walk away, man. I'm not really going to look for a short. I'm not going to look for a long. I'm just going to walk away until I see better momentum. Like this leg up right here, had I not taken a trade yet, I would probably wait for this leg to get rebalanced, maybe tag into this 15-minute, and then look for higher again. Or I could have shorted off of this London high inside this daily bearish gap. Probably would have shorted, but yeah, man, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So far, that's 4 trades on the week. Tuesday was an L. Wednesday was a W. Thursday was an L and a somewhat W tilt trade. So I'm ending up like, man, 0.1 R or some shit. I don't know, but it's pretty brutal. But it is what it is. There's nothing that I can do but preserve capital for tomorrow, and hopefully Friday ends up with a banger, or maybe I'm down for the week. I really don't know. I really don't care. I'm just trying to get this shit over with and see if I can get a payout on these accounts or not. If not, just get more evals. It's a business, dude. It is what it is. I can't hope and pray. Like, that's not going to do anything if I'm not executing, you know. But yeah, it is what it is. I'll see you